Hello and welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 128. Today we're going to talk about when to get a coach, meta picks, how to know you should go all in on esports, and bouncing back after a bad week. Today's Friday, so pretty apt, topic for talking about bouncing back after a bad week. Personally, I've had a good week. We're here with the regular show. And during this regular show, since I'm going to be doing it every single day, I need more questions from you guys. Remember, the best way to get a question on the show is to use the hashtag AskWeldon on Twitter, or to use this app, the Anchor app, which basically is an Android and an OS app for podcasting. But it has this call-in feature, so you can just follow the instructions there and go to anchor.fm/Weldon Green. You go on your phone. And then you can just open that page in the app and click call in. Also favorite my station, so you know when something's happening there. But call in, and then you just hold the phone to your ear and talk. You just ask the question. It just puts it to me. Then I can play it, I can add it to my station, and I can answer it here on the show. And people can hear your voice asking the question instead of my voice asking the question, which makes a lot more sense, and it just gives a little more variety to the show. It doesn't feel right when it's just my voice all the time, talking to me, essentially. And, of course, there are some people who want to be a little bit more private in their questioning. Remember that that's what my Snapchat is for. Just today, I think I was in the gym, and I had maybe a 5-minute video back and forth with Nara Oshima. I hope that I'm not butchering his name, who does a lot of fighting games. And we've done a lot together in terms of the kind of in-depth questions he's been asking. I feel like he's gotten a lot of value from the fact that I'm on Snapchat and I reply, to individual messages there pretty much when I'm in the gym in between sets. That's what I'm doing. So be sure to check that out if that is something that interests you. And yeah, why don't we jump into the first question? Okay, so the first question is from Lol Lampros, and he says, or she says, I'm a bronze jungler and I want to be a League of Legends pro. Should I invest in a coach to really improve? I want to do the right thing. Okay, so the question is, if you're really bad, bronze, okay. If you're really bad and you think you might want to go pro, should you invest in a coach or should you not waste the money? I think that's the real question. You want to do the right thing. Okay. The question you should ask yourself is, can you live with the regret of not trying? Okay. And keep in mind that there are many, and also this is an age thing. Okay. There's a big part of this question which is missing, which is how old are you? If you're 35, it might not be the best tactic. Okay. Because a lot of your life is pretty static and unpliable, and the life of a League of Legends professional is probably out of your wheelhouse by now. If you're 19, if you're 21 and you're like, oh, I'm over the hill, but I still want to be a pro, but I'm still bronze. Ask yourself, will you be able to live with the regret? Two big questions. Will you be able to live with the regret of you not knowing if you would have been good enough if you tried? And B, do you have the disposable income to spend on like you would on piano lessons? $15 a week. $20 a week for a regular kind of once a week hour-long lesson. And if the answer to both those questions is yes, then you should definitely get a coach. There are very few athletes in traditional sports, in sports and arts and crafts. So painting, music, chess, every single sport, practically. There are almost no world-class level athletes who make it there without getting coached. There are very few naturally trained people nowadays in established crafts, okay? League of Legends is becoming an established craft. There are just so many people playing it that, you can magically get the correct cocktail of parenting and video game experience and free time and mentorship that ends up with you being a high-ranked ladder player, or you could just not, and you just suck at MOBAs and you need to be taught, okay? And there are people who are really good at something once they learn it, and there are people who are natural learners and then who can't finish the last 7 inches to go from Diamond 2 to Challenger, right? So just because you're not a natural learner at LoL doesn't mean that you can't learn the facts and do the drills and then become a high rank. Okay, so I would recommend, of course, that you ask those 2 questions yourself and then get a coach. See how it goes. for sure. And thanks for that question, by the way. Okay. Question number 2. I just erased it. There we go. How important is a meta pick? This is from Galbatoric on Twitter. How important is a meta pick? Can I play Gnar to Challenger even if he goes in and out of the meta? Okay, so I think I actually answered this question before. It's kind of ringing a bell. So I copied it from my archive, but it could be that my archive is has some questions in it that I've repeated. So if I've repeated this before, I apologize. But the answer is a meta pick is not that important if you're playing rank to ladder, and a meta pick is very important if you're playing on stage. In fact, it's the most important. If you cannot play the meta pick when you're walking on stage as a pro, you should be ashamed of yourself because it's your job. And I dealt with this a lot when I was coaching, for example, TSM, and in comparison to when I was coaching some other teams, such as G2, CLG. There's a different style of like how often they play the meta and whether or not they believe they should play the meta in all of these teams. And the answer is always it's meta for a reason, and it should be OP. And unless the counter is more meta and stringent, the reason it's meta is because it has few weaknesses and a lot of strengths. Okay, and if something is non-meta, unless it counters the thing and you're picking it into it, or unless it counters it and it has an equal number of strengths, there's not a lot of reason to not be able to play the superior champion. So most of the time at the pro level, this is a mental block. This is like, well, I'm afraid. I don't think I'm going to be good enough on it, and I want to have my own stamp and my own identity. I want to play something fun, so I'm not going to play the meta thing. And then their team loses because they get one like quick victory in a best of 1, and then they lose the best of 5. So it's really important to be able to play off meta champs and to be able to pick anything in the entire game if you're a pro. Anything in your role that is like applicable. Of course, I don't mean that you should have a champion pool that is the entire champion pool. I mean that you should have a diverse champion pool. So you don't want to be just stuck into the 3 meta picks and you can't play anything else. But yeah, you should be able to play meta exclusively at the top level. Now, if this is about ladder play, I would say that of course one-tricking 1 or 2 champs is a really good way to climb, but it does not need to be a meta champ. You can get to, for example, Diamond on Rek'Sai support if you were looking at the League of Legends subreddit recently. So that is that. All right, next question. Do you think Riot would one day make teams draft rookies from college teams like in traditional sports? And this is from Askichi-kun. He asked, do you think Riot would one day make teams draft rookies from college teams like in traditional sports? Okay, fair question. I think it depends on if Riot owns the college league. But I think no. I think that there will be a draft at most from a professional league underneath the pro league, because so traditional sports grew up in this moral and kind of like ethical system where we believed that people needed to have these balanced lives of like athletics plus students, and people physically mature at a much later age in traditional sport, like 25, 26. So they're never going to be like good enough to play when they're 18, 19, 20 on a pro sports team or at a pro level until you're like in your late 20s, because like our bodies, quite frankly speaking. So, but in esport, that's different, and people are not going to want to go to college in order to play professionally if they're close. They're going to want to focus on professional play exclusive of academics. So they're going to be playing in like a semi-pro league, not a college league. And Riot, I believe, owns that league. It's called the Academy Series now, the Challenger Series here in the North American and EU LCSs. And I think that it's possible that someday we'll get a draft from something like that. But the way that it's structured right now, teams own the academy teams. So actually, it might be one way to unlock that talent and make it fair. But I think that the teams are like paying the salaries for these people and putting them through their training. So I don't think that they're going to want to give them up as an asset. So the real answer to this question is most likely no. We won't have any sort of draft system in League of Legends where people are forced to draft. But we might have something that tries to get, for example, college athletes into the semi-pro league when they graduate to kind of get them positions. But it's just not the path. Like, most of the talent is going to be recruited from 18 and 19 into the academy teams. People who graduate from college are like 21, 22. And if they're good enough to be pro and to be drafted, they're probably not going to be in college, or they're going to drop out, honestly, because their possibilities for career are so short. So, good question, though. Just if you think it through, the answer is pretty much an affirmative negative on that. Okay, we have 3 more questions. The next one is a real doozy. It's kind of deep and a little bit depressing, so I want to take a mental break and what should I do during my mental break? Drink some hot chocolate. Hang on, I have my hot chocolate right here. And I can talk about my program, the MAC program, Mindfulness Acceptance Commitment Training Program. This, by the way, is the training program that I do and did with the pro teams I've worked with. With CLG was one of the first pro teams I did it with. They went from never winning a title to winning the North American Championships in 1 season. Then I did it with TSM, and we massacred North America, set 2 records globally for amount of games won, and then, which are still upheld, by the way. Then I did it with G2, kind of on and off, not as much, not as intensely. It was really difficult to adapt to a multilingual environment, but I try to teach the principles. And I know that it's been employed by LCS coaches with other LCS teams as well. So this is essentially the program in video format. Instead of me teaching it, it's me teaching it through a video. 7 weeks, 7 times a week, 7 days a week, so 49 video sessions organized into 7 different modules. You go through, one module is 1 week. You go through all the concepts. Then you go through them again. Then you go through them again, like 7 times, unwrapping an onion, basically, layer by layer, kind of getting deeper and deeper, which is one of the ways that I like to teach concepts that you need to experience as you learn them, so that you kind of get introduced to the concept, then you walk around through life and you experience them, you run into them, and then you have a little insight, you go and then you run into it the next week, we go a little deeper, you've run into it a few times in your life, and you're like, okay, yeah, I see what's going on here, I see where this is going. That's kind of how it's revealed. It's basically like lectures, and sandwiched between the lectures is a mindfulness training session, so meditation, basically. And that is starts at 5 minutes and then expands all the way to 15 minutes by the end. And it's just a mental training exercise used to center yourself so that you can control your attention, get into that flow state that is so necessary for high performance. So I created this program 2014, 15. It's in its 3rd iteration. I'm working on the 4th right now. I hope it gets better and better. Right now there's a few little jiggles and problems with it, which you can always report with the support button. But unfortunately, I'm slow on fixing them. But it's just missing worksheets and stuff. Nothing important. The important stuff is actually in the videos themselves. So make sure to check that out if you're interested. If you have any questions, fire away. In the Twitch chat, or the YouTube comments, I respond to all of those. Pretty much all of them. Not the trolls. I just delete those. I love owning my own YouTube channel. Sorry, YouTubers. I know that you hate hearing that I just delete comments I don't like, but it's my channel. So I can do whatever I want. Okay, let's get into this question. Cubicle asks, I'm depressed and I'm unable to gain a sense of academic accomplishment for the last 3 years. Is committing to esports a bad idea? Age 21, rank Diamond 3 in Korea. This is very similar to the first question, except rank is Diamond 3. When is the time, and I have his age. Okay, so when is the time to kind of give up on academic pursuits, and when do I know to give up, to go all in on esports? So the answer is, you're asking 2 different questions. Should I give up on academia? That depends on your career options. If you give up, you might just want to kind of try to finish a degree and just get out if you've already invested, a couple years. If you're 21 and you've been at school for 2 years or 3 years, then it's shorter in life to go forward and kind of wrap that up. And you will reap the benefits for decades Whereas if you don't, you're going to reap the negative benefits of those 2 wasted years for much longer, I would say. But that is just my insight from how powerful having a college degree has been for my life. Not in that I learned something when I was in college, but in that I had the piece of paper, which opened up a whole set of jobs where they just didn't ask questions because I just had the paper. So they just let me through the door and into the interview. You know what I mean? Because like they just set a bar, and the bar is like 2 years of experience and a college degree. Bar set, you know. So that's kind of my recommendation for that. Then whether or not committing to esports is a bad idea, you got to be Challenger Masters. You got to be high diamond into Challengers Masters before you commit to esport, and you should be able to pull that off in a half-time, part-time manner. So if you look at the pros, they're able to pull it off while balancing something else on the side. I don't mean that you should be able to do it in 4 hours a day, half-time. I mean that you should be able to spend 8 hours of your day working on schoolwork and social life, and you should spend 8 hours of your day training. That's 16 hours. Then you can sleep for another 8 hours, and there you go. So what you have to actually cut out is like hobbies and downtime and lollygagging around and parties and whatever else it is that you're doing. If you want to do both academics and esport, I would just do both. It's totally possible to do both until you get recruited by a team. It's not necessary to cut something out unless you want to watch Netflix and movies and have a hobby. In which case, then but you're not cutting it out for esport, really. You're not cutting academic pursuits out for esport. You're cutting it out for the hobby and the Netflix and the other things you're doing besides training. That's what's really holding you back. So that is my answer to that. Do both. Why choose? You don't need to choose. It's possible to high rank. And then don't commit 100% all into esports until you know that you can hit Masters and Challenger rank, or at least high Diamond 1. And if you need to get a coach, get a coach. It's irrelevant whether you're coached or not. Obviously, if you're not coached, then you do get a coach. You know, it opens the door to like more rapid growth, but sometimes people just need a coach. That's not a bad thing. So yeah. Okay, let's dive into the last question. How do you bounce back after a bad week where you actually feel like you are regressing? And this question is from Mafab123. Okay. When you can feel the regression, a lot of times it's not real. Same as feeling progression, which is one of the reasons that I talk a lot about how to construct artificial feeling progression in your life, because it can be so powerful. If you've ever felt your regression, you're like, wow, I am regressing, and you know it's really strong and it feels really bad. In the same way, the feeling of progression is super motivating and powerful, even though it's so minuscule as to not matter in terms of the grand scheme of things, that it's not really actual progression or regression. So my recommendation is whenever you have regression, to rationalize it and be like, yeah, whatever, not really. You have to understand that the emotions are fine. Like, they're going to happen. You're going to feel that. But you have to constantly rationalize it and be like, no, it's not regression. No, I'm just resting. No, next week I'm going to come back strong. No, it's just, it's just temporary. No, it wasn't really that bad. It's just my perception of it was really bad, etc. Then you need to look for really small, like, moments of success. And I'll give you a tip here. A lot of people base things on, did I get the kill? Did I win the game? Like binary triggers, black and white things. But a lot of times if you have something like getting the kill in lane or winning a game or hitting the headshot, a lot of the skills that you build up to that are many different components that go into getting that kill, many different components of skills that go into getting the headshot or winning the game. And you might, like, one day you might nail 2 of those, and the next day you nail 3 of them, and the next day you nail 4 of them. But there's 8 total that you need to get the kill in lane or win the game. And so even though you got 2, you lost. You got 3, you lost. You got 4, you lost. Are you progressing? Yes. Do you feel like you're progressing? Not if you measure yourself with the binary output of win or loss, kill or no kill, because you're not seeing that the switch is not flipped yet, even though you're more than halfway there. Then all of a sudden you're up to 7. You've got 7 components in place. You still don't get the kill in lane. But that doesn't mean you haven't been improving this whole time. Then all of a sudden you get the 8th, boom. All of a sudden you're able to kill the Talon every single time with Lissandra, no matter what, because you've been progressing. kind of all along the way. Or all of a sudden you just start winning games at a certain ELO and you can never lose them anymore. So you got to pay less attention to the binary switches, and you got to find a way to look at the progression of components involved in skill growth. What did I get better at today? What did I get better at the next day? And even if your rank goes up and down, remember that the ranking is a system established by a company for marketing principles in order to create a way of organizing their customers so that they can keep them happy and sell them skins. Yeah, there is some competition in it, and there's certainly a bell curve of skill, but the things that it measures on the ladder is not improvement, day-to-day improvement at the game. The thing that it measures is objective average skill level over an extended period of time, so it can categorize you. Okay, so it does not measure skill growth over a 2-week to 3-week period. So you could be skill growthing for 3 weeks even though you're losing rank, and then all of a sudden you stop losing. In fact, you might even lose rank no matter what when you're learning new skills because you're testing things. You're going to be failing more than half the time. You should be failing half the time if you're pushing your limits, more than half the time if you're really pushing your limits, which means you're going to lose a lot because you're going to throw away your opportunities to win more readily. But then you're going to have the skill in place. Then you're going to layer on top of that, and all of a sudden you're going to start getting rank. So the binary measurement of this regression is the problem. And so that is what I recommend, is this kind of rationalization. Okay. We did it. We got through the show, you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. By the way, I'm talking to the YouTube audience here, so Twitch, please stick around. By the way, if you're on YouTube, you can check out the show live when I do it, and then I'm going to talk to the people in chat afterwards here, answer their questions, chat with them a bit. You can check it out pretty much every weekday, 3 to 4 p.m. Helsinki time. I'll put a schedule up on my Twitch channel. You can check it out, twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. Don't expect a schedule there till next week, maybe after that sometime. Not really sure how I'm going to do it. But anyway, I also, of course, tweet out when I'm live. So you can just follow me on Twitter, and you can turn on post notifications. Just go to my Twitter, click the little 3 dots, say get notified when this person posts. You'll get a little pop-up on your phone screen whenever I tweet, and you can see, he's live right now, boom. Or you can follow me on Twitch, get the same exact thing, right? Boop, he's live, and it'll pop up. You can swipe right, and bam, you're into the show. So yeah, before I dive into Twitch chat, I did want to talk about Runtime, because I forgot to mention this all week, but you may have seen this on my Snapchat if you follow my Snapchat story and my Instagram. I got my package of 56 runtimes that I ordered. And Runtime is this replacement meal that I've been working with Marcel, who's the guy who developed it, all the way back 2016. Yes, 2018 now. It's 2016 we met in the spring. Started a relationship, and he was still testing. I would walk in his office, there'd be like 8 5-gallon white, chemical-looking vats around the office, and he'd be mixing up a pile of powder, and he'd scoop it into a cup and be like, "Drink this." I'd be like, okay, Then I came in one week, and there was this guy sweating and falling over his desk, and they're like, "Yeah, we gave him way a lot of ginger," and he's about to throw up. I haze people with their chemical, cocktails, but luckily I never got hazed. I just got the good stuff. And essentially it's a nutrition company developed specifically for seated sports, right? The problem with energy drinks and meal replacements and performance drinks most of the time in traditional sport is they kind of don't care that much about glucose and blood glucose because you're physically active. So you're just moving around a ton and you're burning it off, and it's not making you jittery. And even the jitteriness, you can focus by doing a warm-up. But you got to have a really well-balanced blood glucose to sit and concentrate for 5-6 hours. It's a workplace kind of commitment. And that's what this meal replacement is for. The basic idea is I'm a gamer. I'm not saying to you, you're a gamer. I'm saying I'm a gamer. I don't want to take a break to go fix an entire healthy meal. So I just want to order pizza, but I want to eat something healthier than pizza. So I have a meal replacement, which is basically way healthier than pizza. Not quite as healthy as real food. Although pretty dang close nowadays. And then I have this meal replacement that is basically a drink that's a full meal, super healthy compared to pizza. Drink it, and then I'm set for the next 4 or 5 hours. Don't need to go like eat cereal or eat pizza or eat some Hot Pocket or whatever. This is what I've been doing when I started losing weight. Like 4 months ago, when I started fasting and I started working out, I was like, okay, I'm actually going to do it. Like I went to Runtime. I bought a bunch. I got it in the mail, and I started like doing this regime where I fast for 16 hours, then I break my fast with a Runtime, and then I eat 2 meals after that. So I eat 3 meals a day, around like 1,800 calories I was running. And then I bumped it up to like 2,100 calories. I started eating 3 meals plus a Runtime, because I was using Runtime to gain muscle instead of lose fat. And it worked both ways. I lost 8 kilograms of fat, 16 pounds of fat, and I gained 8 kilograms of muscle, working out every day, by the way. So that has a lot to do with it. But I used Runtime as my protein shake because it has like 30 grams of whey protein in it, which is basically what I dose from like a normal protein thing. So I cut out the cost of eating out and ordering, because it's like basically breaks down to somewhere between $1 and $3 a meal, depending on $1 and $4 a meal, depending on euros a meal, depending on how you break it down. So like I cut out the cost of eating out. I cut out the cost of my protein, and like I was actually saving money doing this, and eating healthier, and cutting out prep time, and losing weight because I had more balanced blood glucose, and not getting hunger cravings after my lunch, which I normally did. So it was just like, it was pretty amazing. So I'm a big believer in this product. I really think it's powerful. I partner with Runtime, even though they haven't really, like, they don't pay me or sponsor me or anything. This is just purely like a commission-based thing. But I keep trying to find ways to work with them. I might be starting a podcast with them soon, if I can get my crap together. But anyway, I tried to arrange a discount code, because I was like, we should at least do that. So if you use Mind Games in the checkout, you can get 10% off your order. They have a lot of deals, by the way, which are maybe even better than mine. I don't know if they layer on top of each other, but if you can find another deal and then layer mine on top, you might get both discounts. That might be pretty cool. Or you can just like, at this point, you can email the CEO. Like, there's still such a small company that you can talk to these people and ask them. But if you're from North America, it's not released there yet. It's approved, of course, as a food in Europe, but they haven't bothered to set up a North American shop yet, I think because it's their first year in. So just email the company and tell them, come to North America. I heard about this from Weldon, and I want some. That'll make me look good. Thank you. Thank you for doing that for me. And then if you're from Europe, obviously you can just straight up order it. So I drink original. I ordered 50 or 60 packages of the original mix. I've tried all of them. Coconut's pretty okay. Strawberry one is amazing. I know they just came out with a chocolate one. I actually haven't tried it yet, so I don't know if it's good or bad. But I'll let you know. And I'm a little bit of a weird case, because I used to do athletics, so I work out now 6 days a week, and I'm quite fine with it. So I've upped my calorie intake a lot. I'm eating like full meals plus a Runtime. But you can use Runtime as a replacement instead of just like a supplement like I do, pretty readily if you want to do it that way. So yeah, thank you for tuning in today. Please, please, please share this video with somebody who needs to hear it. I'm trying to rebuild back up my channel. I haven't been able to make content for like a year and a half. I haven't been able to stream for like a year and a half. I have a new streaming computer. I'm going to be making content every single day, every single week that I possibly can. And I would love to break 2,500 subscribers on YouTube. I literally have been at 22,000. I've been at 24,000 subscribers for like 2 years. I've never broken 25,000. Like, I keep gaining like hundreds and then losing hundreds, because the YouTube like kind of like purges them, So let's see if we can get there. Share this video. Get people like interested in my content again. There's three fresh new shows this week out. This Friday. I'm definitely going to be doing them on the weekend too. And we'll build it back up. Okay. See you guys next time.